So this video here, I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm not going to call this a tutorial. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how I personally edit my videos. There'll be better ways out there, there'll be worse ways out there. This is what works for me at this point in time. I'm just putting this up there just to give you ideas that you can maybe take from this. Just pick whatever ideas you like, just so that then you can make your workflow a bit better. Workflow is a very personal thing. Okay, so the very first thing that I would recommend you to do is, after you've finished filming, while it's all fresh in your head, you should go onto a computer. First of all, back up the files, and also go in and edit the names of all your files. So that's footage and audio. So that if, say that you've done 10 takes of a shoot, go in and edit each one, okay? Hopefully you've been doing your clapperboard and you'll be able to easily know what takes what. I've already sieved through that. I've only got 2 files in here at the moment, my EQ and compression tutorials. We're going to use the EQ tutorial for the example. You can see I've already separated audio and footage, and in each there's only 1 file. In this process here, I use 2 softwares. One is DaVinci Resolve, sometimes Pro Tools, so maybe 3, but you always DaVinci Resolve. It's a free version of DaVinci, developed by Blackmagic, or Blackmagic Design. And I also use a piece of software called LumaFusion, which is for iOS. That is my preferred way of working, because I feel like both have its benefits and downfalls. So in here, you can see I've already imported my 2 files. What I'm going to do is highlight and create new timeline. Cool. So as you can see here, we've got the audio, the footage up here and the audio down here. I don't like the layout of this software, I have to say. I think it's very unnecessarily bulky. And what it is that I'm trying to do here, as you can see there, I snap my finger. When you do your projects, you should always do sound first, then start recording. So you can see there, that's where my finger is in the footage. So I look along here and I try and see where I think could be a snap. That could be a snap right there. I look at the waveforms here, and yeah, it sort of matches, so I'm pretty confident that that's my finger snapping in here. I'm going to listen back just to see. I'm going to mute that track. So it's going to be hard to tell, but I have synced this up definitely. My computer is struggling because it's trying to screen record while also edit, so it is buffered when I play back. As you can see there, okay, it is struggling, but it is also synced. So I'm going to keep this track muted because I don't really need the camera audio for this. The only thing that I really use LumaFusion for, or not LumaFusion, DaVinci for, is really to get a proper output so I can work in LumaFusion, and also to tidy up the audio. If I'm working in a bigger project where I'm not just talking, where I need a lot more background music and Foley effects, then I bring it into Pro Tools. Don't need that for this. So essentially I'm just going to skip all this, go straight to the audio, and yeah, I'm going to do a rough edit of EQ and compression here. So I'm going to bounce this and I'll bring it into LumaFusion. I'll see you there. First thing I'm going to do is open up my other app, LumaFusion. In here, I'm just going to import the files from the EQ project, and then I'll show you what I do from there. So very quickly, my EQ Luma there. Excellent. So this has got edited audio, no edits on the video. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to mute that track because I don't need it, so I've just imported a separate audio clip. So first thing to do, not is check where the video actually starts. EQ is something that you can... Okay, I'm going to just say there, that'll be fine enough for me, I think. So I'm just going to get rid of all this excess, just to tidy up the project first of all. So that's me trimmed in my start so that the video start is where it generally starts, and now the same with the end. Explanation. Go experiment with it and see what it can do. Okay, I'm going to just end that there as well. So we'll cut that out and delete the excess. In this not in this project, in this, what's it called? Software, thank you. In this software, when you make cuts, it's quite difficult to group them together again. So the very first thing that I do is anything that I want to apply across the board, I apply it now. That would include things like EQ compressors, but the sound's already been done. So the main thing that I'm going to worry about now is how it visually looks. Because I'll show you here, I'm going to make a cut here, just for demonstration. And I'm going to add a lot into this because I feel like this is very horrible looking. Personally, I quite like the cooler looks, the more blues, brightness. I tend towards the cooler looks. If you look at my other tutorials, you'll see that. And in fact, I've actually got a preset because I spent a good while looking through, and I got a good preset, which is a good setup in my living room with the one LED. As you can see there, it's actually made it look pretty decent. So you can see that I've got a preset for living room far when I'm talking, and Blackmagic living room, that's just a standard which I then adjust. That's mainly if I'm doing B-roll. So you can see there instantly, it's so much better than that. I'm not going to go through the process of LUTs because that is an entirely different video. If you want a quick look at what I've done, there it is there. You can see a lot of blue. When you're making your LUTs, doing presets, I would not advise you to just click your preset and be done with it. Always fine tune it, keep making adjustments, otherwise all your videos are going to look samey. Also, your preset of the LUT might work on the day that you filmed that day, but might not work the next day. For example, when I made this LUT, we were filming during daylight. It is now pitch black outside, so there's, even though we get the curtains drawn, there's still slight adjustments in there. So always fine tune your LUTs. Like for instance, for this here, I might even add in a little bit more blue, a little bit more cooler, just to even it out a little bit. I mean, I'm not having a good look now, but I'd maybe even add in a little bit more white as well. So yeah, just use your eyes and just see what needs done. So the white's actually almost fully there. Always do very fine adjustments, don't go crazy with LUTs, do very fine adjustments, just see how it looks. So I made this cut here. As you can see, the two cuts changes a lot, so that's because I made that cut. The LUT only applies to the selected track. In this software, I could, if I wanted to, copy the... Yeah, in fact, there's my preset there, so I could actually just select that and apply the preset. Or I can copy everything that's going on in here, I copy it, using that there, then I can paste it in there. Anyway, I'm not getting into how to use this software, that isn't what this is. So after I've done my LUT, what I then do is, the two are linked, sorry, excuse me. There we go. Once I've done my LUT, I then make my cuts. Or sorry, once I've done everything that I want to be across the board, I then do my cuts. This is where I cut out the times that I go and all those mannerisms. It's also where I cut out silence like that. So if I need to pause to think on what I'm doing, like what I just had to do there, I cut that bit out so that the video's generally a little bit quicker. If you want to include a little tutorial video, if you want to include music, you can do that as well. I'm not going to show that here because that's a whole other thing as well, but this is where I'd also, after I've done my cuts, my edits, and adjusted everything accordingly, that's where I would include music. You can include it earlier. It depends on what you're trying to make. If you're trying to make video that should sync up with the music should be there before you do any cuts, before you take out any footage, your audio should be there so then you can sync up with the music, with the beats. But for these tutorials, music is one of the last things that I do. And the only thing that I really sync up to music is when I'm doing a sort of B-roll shot of the camera that I'm showing off, or the piece of equipment, like this here. This thing is an absolute unit. If in the HNC, once that's all done, the music's been edited in, the music finishes when the video finishes as well. I gloss over it several times, make fine adjustments, and there's a little saying that goes about that a project is never finished. There's always something that you can do to it to make it better. You need to tell yourself, this is how good I can get it, then now I'm happy with it, let's move on to the next. It's very easy to get lost, especially if you're doing a big documentary project or a short film. Very easy to get lost in very slight tweaks, especially like I'm saying with LUTs. This LUT's very easy because it's only one location, my living room. If I'm doing maybe a 10 location piece for a short film or documentary, it's very easy to get lost in LUTs and messing around with things in there, messing around with different effects and all that nonsense. Set yourself a deadline. Once you've had your deadline, you know, ship it off and get it uploaded wherever you want, move on to the next project. So yeah, this is a very, very brief way of how I edit. It's very simple, but very time consuming as well. Once I go in here and make all these little edits, when I try and take out all my breaths, it is quite time consuming.